Howdy doody, welcome back to the ranch. My name is Mick. This is my 2003 Dodge Ram 2500 with the 5.9 Cummins in it. This is my daily driver, my personal vehicle, my main means of light-duty towing. Recently I've been having some issues with it. We'll go through a little more detail, but I am definitely not charging, that is for one. But I also want to do a couple things. I picked up a little auxiliary fuel cell here that I want to throw in the bed. We got to wire that up, reorganize the bed a little bit in order to do that, so we're going to make a day out of it. Stick around, got a lot coming up. Uh-oh. I know there's going to be a video on this, so I'm going to start recording now. The Dodge is struggling. She does not sound happy. And if you look down there, looks like I'm not charging. My lights aren't really working. I got pulled over once, and he just told me to make it home safe. Thank goodness. I appreciate that man's understanding. But I don't know if I'm gonna make it back. I mean, this thing is not running well. No, I am not joking, but I am a quarter of a mile away from home. Otherwise, I would not be doing this. I had the batteries charging, so let's see if she'll fire up. Come on, baby. I just had to stand outside of the truck, so I couldn't pull it right out. That's why. It says I'm charging. I got a theory. Okay, just getting started on this thing. You'll probably notice it's dark outside. Kobe. So I mentioned that this was charging on my way over here, and I think I have an idea what's going on. Good news is I don't need to buy an alternator because that one's still working. I had my suspicions because the alternator honestly looks brand new. Anyway, here's what I think is going on. So alternator is down here. You could see, I mean, she looks brand new. What doesn't look brand new, however, are these battery connections. These terminals are far, far, far too gone. And I knew I was gonna have to replace them, but both of the positive terminals are in the same shape. They have these cracks that go all the way through, and basically that tightening screw isn't doing anything anymore. So my plan for those, I have these in stock, so I'm gonna run with them. Yes, I should buy the $150 stock positive cable that has the auxiliary wires running off of it, but I'm not in the mood to do that. So we're gonna run with the Duralast pair and just be done with it. And then there is one auxiliary wire here that runs to this stock terminal, and I'm just going to solder this little guy on there and take the place of this wire because this wire actually doesn't go anywhere. I figured it did, but I actually chased that wire down the cab and it's just a dead wire cut off back seat. So I'm gonna do away with this. I'll snip this, solder that together and stick it right here if I have enough length. If not, I'll just double up. Sue me. All right, I got the truck flipped around here. Let's turn our attention to the bed, the meat and potatoes, if you will, of this episode. Here's the thing. The fuel tank is actually sitting in a different spot than it was before, if you notice, and that's because it ejected itself from the bed a couple hours ago as I was pulling in here. Got a little buck nasty, and she toppled, you know, but that's okay. She's fine, made out of steel. I've actually been on the hunt for one of these for a while, but they're expensive. I wanted to get a good pump with it. I like these fill rights. This is what we use at work primarily in our company trucks. It's just a, you know, it's a good solid pump, a nice name brand. We'll throw a new filter up there. I did verify that this runs. I took some electrical tape off and it looks like they cobbled up an extension cord here. I don't think I'm going to need this extra length with my plan here. I'm going to run the wires the way I did with these lights. So I don't think I'm going to need the extra length. So I'll probably just snip that extension off and we will be good to go. But pretty straightforward. It's a 45-gallon, and I think, truthfully, if I went any bigger than that, I wouldn't be able to fit everything in here that I want to fit in here. Only downside with my layout plan here is I just put these spotlights in, if you remember that video, and this one will be blocked by the fuel tank. But whatever, I'll figure out a different place to put it, or I'll just leave it there buried and forget about it. What you doing? Running around? You're all wet. I did some measuring here. This will fit quite nicely back in that corner where the rigid box is. I also want to get this hose reel mounted. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to mount that on the belt guard because it's pretty sturdy. It's stout up there, and that's a good place to put that, but that's going to be sticking up then straight in front of my window. So I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees. So the hose reel is going to be over here, and my pull start and exhaust then is going to be facing this way, which is going to be better in the long run anyway. The pack rat is going to stay exactly where it's at. The garbage is going to go, and the fuel tank is going to sit there in the corner, and the rigid box is actually going to sit on top of it. So visibility-wise, I'm going to be doing pretty good with that layout, and everything should kind of fit snug. Lady girl. Not sure how I feel about the toolbox sitting up there I don't hate it, but it does restrict view. It's only a few inches higher than the fuel tank, but just enough, and it's orange that it really sticks out. Not sure what I want to do about that, if I should just get rid of it altogether. The other thing that I was thinking about is mounting it. I figured, I could be creative in some way, but I don't have any ideas just yet, and it might just be more trouble than it's worth. Not sure how I feel. For now, I'm just gonna let it sit up there. Maybe the juices will start flowing. Ow! But in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is pull that belt guard off of the compressor and get to mounting the hose reel on that thing. That way, I'm all square here. Okay, here's what we're going with. I've kicked around a bunch of different ideas. I reorganized all these heavy boxes multiple times, and this is what I landed on. First and foremost, the reason for all of the rearranging. The fuel tank is sitting here. There's no way I would want it on the other side just because of where this toolbox, I couldn't do it up here. So I threw it down here, which meant I had to rearrange these two. I was debating about where I wanted to put the hose reel because I didn't want it sitting up top over here because then it would be, here, because that would be basically right in the middle of my windshield. It wouldn't look right. So I mounted it down here, which I'm happy with, but I think I'm gonna have to maybe weld a little support bracket right here, and that'll keep it from wobbling around. Unfortunately, I just sold my welder because I'm saving up for a heavier duty welder. Part of that process was making sure I could sell my other one, which I did, but now I'm waiting for a deal, Black Friday or something. So I'm gonna be a couple months without a welder. I'll do that another time. Anyway, this is what we're landing on. I think I like it. It looks a little bit cluttered, but also organized. It's not bad. So I spent way too long doing this. I mean, I think it's been about 2 hours. I get meticulous with this stuff. Nothing I can do about that. I want to make sure it's the way I want it, so I'm gonna call it quits. It's 11:30. I need to go to bed. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, back on this thing another day. Focusing on wiring today. I think I have a plan, but we'll see how it goes. So here's what I'm thinking. I got my wiring running here. This is that extension that I was talking about. I might need to keep that, not sure. But what I want to do is bring this under the cab and pop it up the way that I installed these lights back here. Please excuse the mess. Pop it up through here, and then what I noticed was there's a wire poking through here for what I would assume to be a speaker maybe. And I traced that wire all the way back, and it's this one up here that I pulled off of the positive battery terminal. Looks like a fusible link sitting there. What my plan is to reattach this to the battery terminal, snip this and snip this, throw in a relay, 5-post relay, run my wires back down. That wire pokes through my firewall right there, and I can run it up. And I'm gonna mount a switch right here, just a little sticky switch. This is actually a switch that came with my lights in the back. Unfortunately, I snipped these wires without thinking, and that is going to be a tough and short soldering job. Okay, that is the plan anyhow, so let's get working and see if that all shakes out. All we're gonna do now, since that did not work at all, is same switch that I have in there, but this isn't the type of switch that I want for this application, so this is just going to be a temporary. I would like to have just a sticky switch with a push button. That's what I'm looking for here. So this will do for now until I order one, but I'd like to get this functional at least. All right, I was just checking a couple things, but my relay is wired in. I got everything set the way that I think it needs to be. Got power again. Let's flip this switch. Should be able to switch that on. And with the flip of this lever, hopefully, we get some noise. Yes, we do. She's empty. All right, so that's a win for the night. I got started way too late, so I gotta get to bed. I should have mentioned, I think somebody's gonna get mad at me for not using a fuse with that relay. I know I should. Just remember, I don't claim to be a how-to channel, but if you want to do it the right way, throw a fuse in there too. I just didn't. Anyway, good night. See you tomorrow. Can someone please explain to me how last week it was like 75 and sunny, and now all of a sudden it's 45 degrees outside? Should have put my Carhartts on. My goodness. Move to Cleveland, they said. It's beautiful there, they said. No one ever said that, and I've always been here, so I didn't move here. Anyway, this will be the last night on this here rig for this fuel tank project. I ordered a couple things. I realized that that sticky switch wasn't going to work, so I went ahead and ordered some LED rocker switches. They look like this. I'm sure you've all seen them before. And there's 3 posts in the back. One's ground, one's power in, one's power out. They came with these handy dandy little pigtails that I can solder on there, which I didn't know. That's pretty convenient. And then I also ordered some of these 5-post relays that have a built-in slot for a focus, baby. Have a built-in slot for a fuse. So I'm going to swap out the one that I installed earlier. You guys already watched me do that, so I'm just going to swap this one out. Again, comes with a little pigtail, so I can solder that onto my wire ends and just plug her in and mount it. That'll be nifty. Forgot that I had a insulated vest sitting in the cab of that truck. Anyway, I should mention that the reason why it's cold and it was warm before is I actually needed this truck to drive down to pick up the dozer. If you haven't seen that video already, might I recommend you go back and watch it. That TD14 is a great project. Looking very much forward to getting back to work on that thing. But I had to pause this project in the middle of it to use it to go help pick up that dozer. And for what it's worth, I did actually get to try out the auxiliary tank the other day, filling up some equipment on the property here, and she works she works well.
Hi, Mama. Hello, baby. Woo!
Anyway, let's jump back into this project, get in the cab, and mount up the switch.
Whoa. Whoopsies. Yep. Okay, so I got this tiny little Christmas tree bit that we're gonna drill this hole with. I don't know where my small one is, so this big one will have to do.
That's what she said.
I'd say it's a pretty good eyeball. Oh yeah, still more. Yep, that should be it. Yeah, all right, I don't want to put it all the way in though. Okay. Yeah. Mounting hole secured. Because I didn't color coordinate these, but I'm about to. Okay, that's hot. That is cold. This is my hot lead coming in, so I'm gonna color code it red. Uno. All right, there's that. I also went ahead and made my ground wire up ahead of time. And I know that this ground is for the door buzzer, so once I take this off, it's probably gonna sound. I guess forget what I said about the door buzzer. There it is. There we go. If you don't know, on these little switches, ground is the brass colored one. So power in will be top, power out is middle, and then ground for your LED is the bottom. I absolutely hate that I put that crooked. It's just crooked enough where it's gonna bug the living piss out of me. There we go. Good. Sweet. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's see what happens when we flip this here switch. And we can come into the cab, flip our new switch. Oh yeah. Pumping away, call that a success. Nice.
Okay, with that switch mounted, we have one very last thing to do. Last but not the least. We're not going to make it feel bad here. It's top priority for me, I promise. I think I mentioned before, this is the cover plate that was on the tank labeled junction box. It's funny because this looks very much so stock, but it can't be because it's too small. Not sure what's going on there. If there was supposed to be a plate and then this was supposed to be mounted on that plate, I don't know, but we're going to do away with this thing, and it's not all that important what covers that junction box up. There is a O-ring that goes along, so it just needs to be a piece of steel that's going to cover it up and keep it dry. My plan for that, not a lot of you are going to be happy about this. It's a little redneckery, but I'm just using what I got here. Saved a little panel from an electrical box, it looks like. I'm not going to say I saved this. It was one of the beautiful garbage picks that I got from the yard out back, just laying back there. But the important part is it's galvanized, it is steel, and it's painted, so it's not going to rust or anything like that. There's also this little lip on it, which I think I can kind of set on top of the junction box and then drill my holes. My point is it's going to work out just fine.
I am gonna paint it red so it matches. Don't worry, I'm not that much of a slacker here. We're gonna make it right enough, okay? All I'm doing is I took a piece of paper here, marked out, just kind of took my finger and marked out the lines. I'm gonna paste this up here, trace her up, cut her out, paint it up, mount it. And this thing's gonna be done, ready to be put back in service. I don't know why I forgot this trick from before while I was making my paper template, but blue tape makes a good template for something like this. I want to get these holes perfect, so just line up some tape, stick her on there. Okay, now I can see my holes there, but I'm just going to punch them out anyway. Now I can peel this off and use this as a template. And I'm bringing my gasket with me, apparently. Nifty. Red caliper paint. If one thick coat on some galvanized painted steel won't do it, nothing will. Yeah, she's still a little wet, but that's all right. It's getting late. I want to go to bed, so we're just going to tack this thing on here. I'm hoping these bolts work. So far, it seems like they're going to be okay. Yep. That just snapped. That's great. I think I got to cut these down smaller. Okay, so we're just not going to pay attention to the fact that I broke a bolt off in there. Maybe one day I will decide to drill that out and retap it. I'm probably not gonna fix it. Unless it really drives you guys nuts. It might drive me nuts, honestly. With these 3 bolts that are nice and shiny, and then there's nothing here. It's probably gonna drive me nuts, but it's on. All right, y'all, I think that's going to bring this one to a close here. I had fun, didn't you? Relatively easy project to do on this here truck, but something that I really, really needed, especially being on this property now and hopefully acquiring more and more diesel equipment. I need to have on-site diesel. It'd be nice to have some sort of on-site fuel tank, but that's gonna be down the road. For now, this is gonna be perfectly fine for what I need it for, and I'm already putting it to use. So definitely glad I spent the money on it. Definitely glad that I took the time to install it the quasi right way. Anyway, with that, we got a lot more coming up on this truck and a lot more coming up on the property here. Next steps with this truck is actually going to be interior. I got big plans for this thing coming up here shortly. It's not going to be next week by any means, but it is going to be coming down the line soon. I also am having a little issue with this truck that we need to correct, and I'll bring that up another time. But with that, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please do me a favor, like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, the Tiki Talkies. But with that, as always, I appreciate all you watching and tagging along with me. I'll see you all in the next one, but always remember, don't be afraid to grab that wrench, get after yourself. See you next time.